What's up, YouTube? So tonight we have, or today, whenever you're watching this, shout out to my replay gang, replay squad. You feel me? Um, so for those of you who don't know me, I am Steph Jackson, athlete freedom agent and wide receiver coach. And so we are going through the name, image, and likeness rule. We are on part 4, which means that if there are like about 50 states, then there are only 5 parts. Okay. All right. So the next 10 states, we're going to kick this thing off. First is New Jersey. Jersey, what's up? All right. So New Jersey's name, image, and likeness law actually does not take effect until fall 2025 school year, right? So quite honestly, what you need to know about the New Jersey Act, it is that unless you are unless you will be in college in Jersey in fall 2025, the New Jersey Fair Play Act does not um, affect you. So what that means is that if you are in Jersey or going to a school in Jersey, being recruited by a school, or going to sign to a school, you need to go ahead and call the school. You need to get with your AD, get with your coach, get with your school compliance officer because they can tell you. They can tell you what the school's name, image, and likeness rules are. Okay. All right. That's Jersey. Jersey was short and sweet. You feel me? Um, Next we have New Mexico. So New Mexico, like a whole bunch of other states, got their name, image, and likeness rule kicked off July 1st of 2021. And it is called the Student Athlete Empowerment Act. I mean, these names, you know what I'm saying? These names are pretty funny. This one's kind of corny, but there it is. As long as you're getting your money, I don't care what they call it. So like Massachusetts, New Mexico allows you to wear footwear of your choice during official mandatory activities, so long as the footwear does not have reflective fabric or lights or pose a health risk to other student athletes. Okay. What they worried about is, I remember back in the day, they had like the light up joints, the LA Gears. If you had them, it was over for you if we played hide and go seek outside at night. But so they're worried about any health risks because some of those, like flashing lights and stuff, cause seizures in some people. So they just want to keep it healthy. They like, yo, wear what you want, but make sure you ain't out here putting nobody in danger. Okay. It also prohibits anybody who represents the school or has represented the school in the past 4 years in any business agreement from representing you, the student athlete who attends that school. Okay. What they want to guard you from is any conflict of interest. All right. There's some greedy people out there. There's some people with ulterior motives, meaning they tell you one thing and do another thing. Um, or they mean something totally different, but they just want to guard against any conflicts that could arise. All right. That's New Mexico. It's not New Mexico, you know what I'm saying? It's not this the Student Athlete Empowerment Act. Endorsement Act, sorry, the Student Athlete Endorsement Act for New Mexico is not complicated. All right. So let's move on to Nevada. Nevada. Good old Nevada. I know two things about Nevada, but I know they call it Nevada out there. One, Vegas. Two, Reno 911. If you've never seen it, Google it. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So um, Nevada's name, image, and likeness law actually comes into effect or came into effect January 1st of this year of 2022. All right, it's very cut and dry provisions. Like I told you, when I say cut and dry provisions, I mean, it's short and sweet. They can't prohibit you, student athlete, from being compensated for your name, image, and likeness. You can't go into any contract that's going to um that is going to what am I gonna say? That is going to break like team rules or will conflict with other team contracts. One thing about Nevada is that they try to be slick. It does not expressly refer to the NCAA, but it uses the term National Collegiate Athletic Association as a category under which the NCAA falls. You don't really care about that, but that's kind of just for legal purposes. Let's just say that when the Supreme Court case came down and the NCAA was basically forced to allow you to be compensated, they weren't happy. So what they did was they threatened to sue, I think was it California, maybe? They threatened to sue one of the very early states to enact the law saying that they named the National Collegiate Athletic Association, like they named the NCAA. So Nevada's like, we're not gonna name you, but we'll name the category you fall under because they say any National Collegiate Athletic Association, all right? They didn't just say capital NCAA, right? So kind of tricky. Anyway, that's Nevada. It is cut and dry. Outside of the NCAA shade, is nothing really to see there. All right. New York is pending. They don't have a current NIL law. So what that means, like I've told you guys, is that if you plan in New York or plan on playing in New York, you need to go ahead and see what your school's policies are. Okay. All right, moving right along. Let us go to Ohio. What up, Ohio? So Ohio enacted an executive order which came into effect June 28th, 2021. So about 4 days before every other state just about, which was July 1st. So like I said, it's cut and dry. We should know what that means by now. Cut and dry just means um that it has very general name, image, and likeness provisions. Like they can't prevent you as a student athlete from being compensated. It can't prevent you from getting um, representation. You can't enter in any contracts that conflict with your team contracts. You can't participate in name, image, and likeness during mandatory team activities or school activities, that sort of thing, right? So Ohio lists prohibited advertisement contracts, meaning things like you can't be marketing drugs or marijuana or big pharmaceutical or tobacco products or sex related things, um, or violent things or guns, things like that. So those are like prohibited categories. It allows you to renegotiate the contract provisions if it conflicts with like a school or team contract, as opposed to saying you got to give up the whole contract. Get your money, just renegotiate that little part that actually conflicts with the team contract. Okay, got it good. All right, so that's OHIO. Next, we have Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. Oh, the winds are weak. Okay, I'm done. Yes, I was forced. I would say forced, but your girl actually enjoyed it. My grandmother, the summers I would go and visit, would make me watch Oklahoma. That was like my summers. Running around Mississippi, sitting in front of the TV, watching a musical from like 1960 something. I don't even know when Oklahoma came out, but anyway, eating boiled eggs. Don't judge me, judge your mom, as they say. All right, let's get it. Oklahoma. So Oklahoma says that your name, image, and likeness compensations does not affect your scholarship. but it may be used to calculate income-based financial aid. I think that's trash. Cause why? 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 Just make your money. Like, just make your money. I don't think they should be. I don't think they should do that. That's just me. But just know that Oklahoma says that that any money you make from name, image, likeness may be used to calculate income for your need-based financial aid. I completely disagree, but that's the law in Oklahoma. Also, you must disclose, meaning you must tell your school about any contract you have in name, image, and likeness within 72 hours after entering there, so they don't stop you from entering it. But you have to let your school know within 72 hours after you enter the contract or before your next athletic game, whichever comes first. So if you got a game on Saturday and you enter a contract on Friday, then they need to know by like Friday night, Saturday morning. Okay. The 72-hour rule does not apply because it's whichever comes first. Keep that in mind. What it says that you cannot benefit from nor negotiate any team contracts. All right. That makes sense. Like, let's say you're a top-notch recruit and you're trying to wear Nike and your team is an Adidas school. So you don't get a say so on what the school wears. All right. Now, if you want to go sign with Nike, that's fine. Okay. So you don't got nothing to do with the team contract. All right. Oklahoma's also super heavy on the athlete agent provisions. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. Keep that in mind. Oklahoma goes to extra lengths to protect you, the student athlete, from shark agents or trash agents. Okay. They out there. Trust me. They are. Next up, we got Oregon. What up, Oregon? So Oregon's law took effect July 1st, 2021, last year. And they have like the same provisions as like New Mexico. It prohibits an individual who represents the same provision as New Mexico has, where if a person represented your school within the past 4 years in a business agreement, then they can't represent you. Okay. There's a huge conflict of interest that they're trying to protect you from. All right. Now you're going to love Oregon, and I love Oregon for this. They have a royalties provision. Guys, if you don't know what royalties mean that let's say that you're a singer and you make an album and the album sells. Well, every time the album sells, you get a percentage of the sales. Those are royalties. Now, if you Michael Jackson or somebody and your album is still selling, you are still getting paid. What makes Jordan so rich is not that well, obviously he sells a lot of shoes and has made some good business deals, but he gets royalties. Can you say this with me? Royalties. All right. That is where you want to be. Trust me. Trust me. Don't just get paid off of one contract. Don't just get paid one endorsement deal. Ask for royalties, people. Okay? It's a continuous check. It's a continuous check. All right. So the Oregon's royalties provision. If a school or team contract involves royalty payments to the school or team, there must be a provision in the contract to include one, royalty payments to student athletes who are current members of the team, and two, royalty payments plus premium payments to student athletes who are current team members or former team members whose name, image, or likeness is being used. Rewind that. You need to know that. Rewind, rewind, rewind. So if your school or team if there is like a royalty payments to your school or team under a team contract, then they also have to have a provision um, that gives royalty payments to you, student athlete, who is a current member of the team, and also royalty plus premium payments to you who are currently on the team, plus any former team members whose name, image, and likeness are being used in the advertisement as it pertains to that school or team contract. So what does this mean? Let me famous Oregon Duck, Marcus Mariota. Let's go there. So if this were in place when Mariota was the quarterback at Oregon, that would mean, as a matter of fact, it's in place now. So he would fall under a former team member. So if they are using Marcus Mariota's name, image, or likeness still, and they're getting royalty payments, he now will get royalty payments. So any current or former team member whose name, image, or likeness is used, got to get paid. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, I love it so much. Woo. Um, what else? Well, that's the main thing about Oregon, okay? The royalty payments. Royalty, royalty, royalty. Remember that word, look it up, know what it is, and ask for it. Ask, ask, ask. I believe that if your jersey is being sold, you should get royalty payments. If anything containing your name, containing your image, containing your likeness is being sold, you should get royalty payments. Okay? Royalties. All right, that's Oregon, yo. Let's move on to PA, Pennsylvania. What up? First of all, Pennsylvania, if you're playing in Pennsylvania, transfer. They don't want you to get your bag. Anyway, um, I'm just kidding. Don't transfer. But okay, let's go through. So Pennsylvania does have royalty provision. That is a good thing. All right. It's a very good thing. It says that anyone who produces a college team jersey, a college team video game, or college team trading cards for profit shall make royalty payments to each student athlete whose name, image, or likeness or individually identifiable feature is used. Okay, so just like I said, you should be getting paid anytime any part of you is used in advertising. So the royalty payments here, the royalty provision here for Pennsylvania says that for anyone who produces a jersey, any team jerseys, any college team video games, any trading cards for profit, then they must pay you royalties if they're using your name, image, or likeness in any of those. Okay, it is what it is. All right. Um, Also, the same provision to protect you from conflict of interest. If a person also represents the school, they can't represent you. All right. If they represent the school in any business agreement, they cannot represent you. Okay. It also prohibits NIL compensation in connection with adult entertainment, gambling, casinos, alcohol, betting, lottery, betting with online games, video games, mobile devices, tobacco, e-cigarettes, prescription pharmaceuticals, controlled dangerous substance. All right. Thing about Pennsylvania is that it increases the reach of institutions of higher ed to prohibit certain name, image, likeness activities by mandating them to have policies to specify the NIL activities that you can and cannot engage in. That is too much power. Okay. That's too much power. There's too much prohibiting, it's too much limitation. I do agree with um saying that you guys can't be compensated for name, image, and likeness for like adult entertainment and alcohol. The list that I read, I do agree, but I do not agree with them having a list of what you can do. Because what if you're super creative and you find a way to make money off of your name, image and likeness, but it's not on the list? Do they now say that you can't make that money, even though it's not illegal or immoral or unethical? Like, that's what it sounds like. I don't, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's probably why I got a little Excel sheet and I put Pennsylvania in red because that's too restrictive. Too restrictive. Also, you have to disclose your any potential contract, any potential NIL contract, at least 7 days before you enter the contract, so your school and school officials can review the contract. So you can't even go into contract until you submit the contract within 7 days and get the okay from the school. I'm assuming they're supposed to give you the green light. Still more limitations. All right, because if you have an agent, why do you need to be submitted to the school, assuming that your agent is not trash and unethical? So maybe that's just an extra check and balance. I'm not sure. All right, that's Pennsylvania, yo. Who we got next? Rhode Island has no NIL law. It died in the Senate. They couldn't agree on a very simple NIL law. So a lot of what happens in Rhode Island is, from what I can see, like the sailing teams, rugby, stuff like that. Obviously, basketball, baseball, or, other American sports, football. Um, but what seems to be popular is like sailing and like rugby, something like that. Also, lacrosse. So if you go to school in Rhode Island, or if you thinking about signing to a school in Rhode Island, then just know they don't have an NIL law in place, and you need to follow the provisions set out by your school. So you need to get with your compliance officer, really the compliance officer, okay? Get with your compliance officer and your athletic director, all right? Gotcha. Okay, that's Rhode Island, short and sweet, people. Next, lastly, tonight we have South Carolina. South Carolina, as the Carolinians say. I think that's what you call Carolinians. So what up, South Carolina? Shout out to Gamecocks. It explicitly states that any name, image, and likeness contract that is in conflict with the law is voidable. If it's in conflict with the South Carolina law, it is voidable. What does voidable mean versus void? Let's talk about it, because you will see contract language that says voidable versus contract language that says void. Okay, you need to know what these things mean. All right, you need to know what it means. So, what does voidable mean? Voidable is this. So, you have a contract, and on day 10 of the contract, they find out that your contract is violating South Carolina law. Well, according to the NIL law in South Carolina, it's now voidable. So this means that everything up until now is stopped. So it stops. So if it's day 10 of your contract and they find out it's voidable, that means the contract stops on day 10. You can't go any further. There is no more contract anymore. Everything that happened before, though, is done. Anything that happened before is done. Okay. Now the contract stops. So let's see, days 1 through 9, whatever you got on the contract, whatever you gave on the contract, it just is what it is. But that contract is not going any further than day 10, because it broke the South Carolina, it was in conflict with South Carolina law. That's what voidable means. It means that the moment it means that the moment that, for our sake, the moment that the contract was in conflict with South Carolina's law, then the contract has to stop. Whatever happened before the contract stopped, just it happened. You don't have to give anything back, and they can't take anything from you. It just stops. Okay. Whatever y'all had going on days 1 through 9, whatever you gave is gone. Whatever you took, you keep on the contract. Okay. Now, if you see that a contract says void, that is a completely different animal. Voidable, voidable means able to be voided. Then it just stops wherever we say it stops, and whatever happened in the past just is in the past. A contract that is void, though, means that that contract was illegal from day one. So let's say the contract violates a law, and in the law it says any contract that violates this law is void. That means that from the first day you made that contract, it was not a legal contract, meaning there was no contract. So what does that mean? Let's say day 10, we find out the contract violated a law, and the law says that any contract that violates the law is void. Okay, that means that now we have to go back as if there was never a contract. That means that everything you got from day 1 through 9 has to be returned. Everything you gave 1 through 9 has to be returned back to you. Everything you got in days 1 through 9 had to be returned back to the other party. Get it? So it has to be as if this contract never happened because it was an illegal contract. Like you never had a contract anyway because it was void. Void mean it never existed, so you never had the legal right to receive anything or give anything. Voidable means that now the contract stops. Whatever you did before the contract stopped is done. Okay? Got it? If you don't have it, rewind this. Or better yet, just go up here and Google something. All right. All right. Um, it also states that you as a student athlete can only receive compensation for your name, image, and likeness, non-athletic work product, or a business that you own. Okay, that's great. So what this law does is that it covers the bases. It goes out just like I forgot what it's. Maybe this is in part 1 or 2, but some states up also had similar language. Of where it was covering you for not just your name, image, and likeness, but also non-athletic work product or any business that you own. Okay. So let's say you got really smart, you started a business is doing good. They say, okay, this money that you made is covered. Go make your money. All right. They're not capping you at just name, image, and likeness. They're protecting your ability to make money outside of sports. Okay. So businessmen and women, you are a businessman. You are a businesswoman. You are a business, period. Got it? So, what else? What else we got for South Carolina? For uses, so South Carolina says that schools must disclose known prohibitions for the use of your name, image, and likeness at the time that you are admitted to the school or when you sign a financial aid agreement. So basically, there South Carolina is saying, yo, if there are anything like let's say prohibited categories, like we just talked about with Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania actually was like, you can't make money by going into contract with under these categories in these industries like gambling and sex and all that and drugs. So South Carolina says they have to put that in, they have to let you know, well, usually it's in writing, um, before you even come on board, basically. So that or the time you admitted in school. So usually they may put it in the paperwork that you have to sign, a team contract probably, that sort of thing. Okay. South Carolina has a very funny what I call the don't skip class and make a commercial provision. It means that in order to even participate in name, image, and likeness, then you student athlete, you must adhere to the schools and the athletic director's GPA and class hours requirement, meaning that I don't care if you sign with Nike and Nike needs to make a commercial during your 9 a.m. class. You better be found in class, basically. Don't skip class and make a commercial to make a commercial provision. Is what that is. So it's saying that if you don't adhere to class and GPA requirements, you can't get the bag. Is a no. You can't get the bag. That's what it's saying. Woo! So you better get the class because it's gonna cost you. All right. That's funny. If they paid me to go to class in college, I would have never missed nothing. Okay. Technically, they're not paying you to go to class, but they just saying if you don't go to class, you can't get paid nowhere else. Yeah. So South Carolina, though, is very heavy on the disclosure. Okay. Any prospective student athletes, meaning if you know you will be signing with a South Carolina school, if you have signed a name, image, and likeness agreement, you must disclose it. You must tell the athletic director before you enroll in school. Okay. So let's say you're a high school phenom, right? Or you 5-star recruit or whatever. You kind of between high school and college. You about to graduate. You just sign a deal with this athletic company, or let's say you sign a deal with Gatorade. Just keep it simple. Um, and then you're gonna sign with South Carolina Gamecocks, right? So you're gonna play for them in the fall. Well, South Carolina says that you have to let the AD know before you even enroll in school. Okay. That's for prospective student athletes, right? And that just means that student athletes that will be enrolling in South Carolina schools. Now, for current student athletes, you have to disclose the terms of your contract before you sign them. Okay. Wow. Also, whoever you are signing a contract with must describe the proposed use of your name, image, and likeness, your compensation arrangements, the name of your agent, and a list of all parties to the contract. They are not playing with you. South Carolina is not playing with you. Okay. They are, if you ever heard of helicopter parents, like those parents that just like stick close to their kids and like, no, little Timmy, don't play in the dirt. You may get ringworms, that sort of thing. That's South Carolina. They're being very overbearing, very overprotective of you. And in some cases, that is probably going to be to your benefit. In other cases, it may just annoy you, but it is what it is. Okay. They are there to protect you as a student athlete. And so they say this is the only way we protect you. So there you go. Also, South Carolina creates a new position by allowing school athletic directors to hire an independent third party to support education, monitoring disclosures, and reporting NIL related activities. So basically, they can hire an NIL watchdog. That's what it is. Another state, I think an earlier state also has this provision where they can hire a third party to basically play compliance off NIL compliance officer. Let's just call it that. I call it watchdog, but we're gonna be professional about it. So it's just NIL compliance officer is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. Also, you must know that there's a 10-day revocation period for you, meaning that if you signed the NIL agreement on the first, then you have 10 days from the day you signed it to back out of it. No penalties, no nothing. So within 10 days, you like, this is not gonna work. I made a mistake. Let the person know and you out. Now, this has not happened normally in the real world, but you know, they want to protect you as a student athlete. All right. Um, So it says, so also at least 5 days before entering into the name, image, likeness contract, the third party entering into the contract with you must disclose in writing any prior or existing athletic association or financial involvement with any school, with any institution of higher learning, so any college. Okay. Also, any South Carolina says any NIL contract is void if you are convicted of a felony. So if you convicted of a felony, then kiss all your NIL contracts goodbye. All right. Let's pray that you never get into that situation. Please don't put yourself into that situation. It's not, whatever it is, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. It's not. All right. That is South Carolina. And yo, that's the end. That's all we got tonight, today, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you're watching this, that's all we got. That was our 10 for today. That was part 4. Next time we hop on, we gonna bust out part 5, and that's gonna be the last one. And so I will update the list as we go. And I really hope that this was super helpful to you. If it was, please like this video, share this video with another athlete that it can help. And yo, subscribe to the channel. You feel me? I know I do a lot of wide receiver training on my channel, but I also do like free game like this for any student athlete or any athlete. Free game. It don't get no better than that. Okay. I mean, what more y'all want from me? Free game and training. That's what your girl got. Okay. So yo, I'm done. That's it for me. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Just know your girl loves you to life. All right. And I'm out.